Give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of Yahushua HaMashiach. Let's go to John 5:39. Search the scriptures, for any of you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me, and you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that come from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There is one that accuse you, even Moses, of whom ye trust. For had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my words? Hello? I don't know who all on here besides Stanley and Kira. Who else on here with you, Kira? I take it's just nobody but you and Stanley.
Well, I'm on here.
That doesn't count because he's on the regular phone. It doesn't count. Wednesday we talked about Wednesday we talked about a particular topic. We're going to reread that verse for that particular topic in Philippians chapter 3, verse 10, because it'll be paramount to the next thing that we're going to read this evening. I have numerous things. Whether I get to them all, I don't know. Y'all knows, I don't know. Also, y'all know Pentecost coming, so you need to make sure yourself ready and properly prepared. All that waiting to the last minute to do stuff when you have it in the means and your power to do so is grossly immature and unacceptable. We need to start doing that. You already know when the stuff coming. I don't know why you want to wait to the last minute to scramble. And I have to say this stuff every year. It doesn't make any sense. Y'all ask for the dates and then forget about it. Act like it ain't coming or something. I think it's missing out of this book. Philippians 3 and 10. No, it's missing out of this book. I'll tell you that one. All right, with that booty talk, leave that alone. Cut that out. Oh yeah, I gotta see that one now. It's not in. I don't got this. It ain't in either one of them. So it says, to know him in the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings. Give me that. This is not a toy. Carry on. To know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings, being conformed to his death, and somehow I might attain to the resurrection from the dead. So the whole key thing what we're looking at is that you want to have fellowship with his sufferings, that you might be able to be made conformable to his death. Now, what does it mean to be made conformable to his death? We already discussed it on Wednesday, and you should already know what it means. It means to suffer and die just like he died, and not continually doing your own will and thinking that crap is acceptable, and it's going to get you the ruach of which you crave and get you in the kingdom of which you say you want to live in. We could go to Galatians 5 and 24 real quick. Dang, this book missing that page too? Nah, it ain't. Galatians 5 and 24. And they that are Mashiachs have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts. So if you belong to Mashiach, you would have already crucified all your desires. And the only desire that would remain would be the desire of Elohim. If you still going, see, because we talked about that. We talked about that on Wednesday. He said the lust of the eyes and the lust of the flesh and the pride of life is of the world and not of Abba. And we seen who made that mistake. And the person who made that mistake was Eve. Now, why is it 2018, so quote unquote, and we still making that same mistake? because you steady desiring what your flesh want, and you steady going after what your eyes want, and you dying. Because the man say the love of the Father is not in you, nothing but the love of the world. He told you in the 4th chapter of James that anybody who's a friend of the world, they are his enemy. And that friendship of the world is enmity with Elohim, which means he has a hatred with it. So you have to decide. So you can't see people be wanting to toe the line and play with it and do the hokey pokey. You want to put one foot in and one foot out, and you can't do that with him. Not if you're going to be conformable to his death. You're not going to be able to do that. Not and be saved. No, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to have to die to all of it, because that's what he did. See, hold on, something right. What it is? 1 Timothy chapter 3. I don't know which one of y'all crying, but cut it out. Nobody don't want to hear all that. 1 Timothy 3 and 14. Elizabeth, go in your room with that. Because you're not crying for real. These things write unto thee, hoping to come unto thee shortly. But if I tarry long, thou may know how thou ought to behave thyself in the house of Elohim, which is the synagogue of the living Elohim, the pillar and ground of the truth. Now again, you ought to know how to behave see, and this is tying in to something that we've been discussing. If the character bot symbolizes the house, and I think we talked about the house on Wednesday. I believe we did. We did, because of the service with the Abdoah. And that is for you to behold the experience to cause you to enter into the son or enter into the house. And that you was going to have to see the experience, and that experience is to suffer or to be confirmed to his death. So you ought to know how to behave. That's why he told you got to take up your stake and follow him. See, niggas is walking around and you acting like you don't know how to behave in this man's house, and he's going to put you out. He's going to put you out. That's why he told you if you lukewarm, he's going to spit you out his mouth. He's going to expel you. He's not going to have nothing to do with you. Where was I at? Verse 16, and without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. Elohim was manifest in the flesh, justified in the Ruach, seen of Malachim, preached unto the Gentiles, believed on in the world, and received up into esteem. So why is that important when he say manifested in the flesh, but justified in the Ruach? Well, let's move along and let's see them. Leviticus chapter 25. He say he was manifested in the flesh, but justified in the Ruach. Before we even read that there, Romans chapter 3. 3 and 1. Then Leviticus 25. Before I even read that. It's a very hard truth. It's hard code. It is what it is. What advantage have the Yahudim, or what profit is there of circumcision? Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of Elohim. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of Elohim without effect? Elohim forbid. Yea, let Elohim be true, but every man a liar. As it is written, thou might be justified in thy sayings, and might overcome when thou art judged. He said to be justified in your sayings. What does he mean by being justified in your sayings? Keep that in mind, because I might take a little detour before we even complete what we're starting. And I'm doing that for a reason. Leviticus 25, and not a detour of epic proportions, just a detour before I get to the point that's going to get to that. Because there's another point that's going to come up to that before we even discuss that. Leviticus chapter 25. Leviticus 25 and 35. It says, if thy brother be waxing poor and fallen in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him. Yea, though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee. Take thou no usury of him, or increase, but fear thy Elohim, that thy brother may live with thee. Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury, nor lend him thy victuals for increase. I am Yahuwah your Elohim, which brought you forth out of the land of Mizraim, to give you the land of Canaan, and to be your Elohim. And if thy brother that dwell with thee be waxen poor and be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bondservant. But as a hired servant and a sojourner, he shall be with thee, and he shall serve thee until the year of Jubilee. Now, we dealt with that bond servant and not causing him to serve as a bond servant on Wednesday. But now we're going to deal with the fact that he told you don't take no usury of your brother. Usury is interest and increase. That word for usury is neshek. And it's the noon, it's the shan, and the kaf, and it's to be able to tame the offspring that consumes. Now, again, this is going to get us back to the point of he was the mystery of godliness, him being manifested in the flesh, justified in the ruach, and received up to esteem. And the fact that he said that you might overcome, be justified in your saying, so you can overcome when you are judged. But when we look at this increase or this usury, the purpose of taxing, he said you need to tame the offspring that seeks to consume, or tame the seed that seeks to consume or to destroy. So let's take a look at something. How do I want to do it? First thing I want to do is I want to go to Matthew chapter 23. And let's establish who this offspring could be. Matthew chapter 23. Make it about verse 13. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut up the kingdom of Shamahim against men, for you are neither going in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering to go in. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayer, therefore you shall receive a greater damnation. He said they devour widows' houses, or they consume them. So what is going to be the taming of this offspring? Because see, we talked about them wheat and them tares last week, about that field and all that. We know the offspring is anyone who does unrighteousness. That would be of the devil. We already know this. If you commit sin, then you are the devil's offspring. We talked about that on Wednesday. Do whatever you yield your presence. Remember, the servant abide not in the house forever. This is why you're supposed to know how to conduct yourself in the house of Elohim. If you commit sin, then you cannot enter in the house, because if you want to be conformable to his death and have fellowship with his sufferings, that means you want to be set free. See, I don't know how bad everybody wants freedom. Now, I didn't pay that close attention to it. I think I understood what this crazy nigga was trying to say. But sometimes if you're not very good at communicating your thoughts, it might be best to keep stuff to yourself. But I'm not going to the point of what this nigga was talking about slavery being no choice. Because every last nigga who commits sin is choosing to be a slave by choice. Because you're choosing to be a slave to sin and a slave to your own desires. And therefore you are a slave to the devil. And that is certainly a choice. That is certainly a choice. No one has forced that level of bondage upon any man. You're choosing that bondage. And niggas say they want to be free, and you want to be saved, and you want to live forever, and you still choosing things that'll keep you in bondage. How does that make any sense? Matter of fact, come over here to Galatians chapter 3. Pick it up, pick it up. Three and 1. Now, he talking about a totally different matter, but I still want to read it to you anyway. O foolish Galatians, who have bewitched you, that you should not obey the truth, before whose eyes Yahushua HaMashiach have been evidently set forth or crucified among you. This only would I learn of you, received you the Ruach by the works of the Torah, or by the hearing of faith? Are you so foolish, having begun in the Ruach, are you now made perfect by the flesh? Have you suffered so many things in vain and believed in vain? Now, you know, the purpose of what he was sitting back looking at is, he asking them, who bewitched you to cause you to go back to bondage? Not bondage because of the law, statutes, and commandments, but the bondage of death, which the law brings forth when you disobey it. Because see, if you believe by faith in the sufferings of Yahushua was made manifest before you, then you would have been made conformable to his death and had fellowship with his sufferings. Therefore, you would have suffered in the flesh to cease from sin, to no longer live the rest of your time to the lusts of men, but to the will of Elohim. And who has bewitched you or deceived you or coaxed you or persuaded you to do differently than that? How do you want to be free and you still worrying about what's going on with people? I guarantee you right now, ain't a nigga walking, sitting back looking like they want to trade places with a nigga in prison. Ain't nobody going down there to the Duval County Jail and say, let me switch places with cuz over here. I know I'm free, but I want to be locked up with him. Ain't nobody going to no prison, nowhere federal or state, and saying, let me on the other side of this razor wire fence, because I feel like it's better for me in here. I'm tired of being free. Let me come in here and be in bondage and be upbraided and held. And that's exactly what we do when we entertain anything that will cause us to be in bondage to sin and bondage to death. When we entertain it and when we play. Because I'm telling you right now, book tell you about this here. Don't entertain it for too long. You entertain sin for too long and you're going to be shamed. Don't entertain. It ain't that serious. It ain't that serious. It ain't that serious. It's just not that serious. If you want to be with a Mashiach, then leave that stuff in the rear view mirror where it's at. You know what I'm saying? Or either get out the car and go back with it. But you can't try to toe the line between the two. You know what I'm saying? You got to have enough wisdom to say, you know what? What a nigga say? Don't let me out the car. Stop the car. That's what you got to do. Stop the car. Stop the car. Hello? Let me tell you.
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah. You better let me out the car. Let me out the car, though. Let me out the car. You know what I'm saying? But y'all niggas sit there and ride. Y'all pull do what Carl did in Minister Society. You go all the way out with it. See, Trey got out the car. He already know he ain't really want to do all that there. Cain ain't kept. You see what happened to Cain? Cain got killed. Trey's still alive. And it's just as simple as that, is making a choice. The choice you're going to make. You know what I'm saying? That's all that trying to be cool because you don't want nobody to talk about you. You better let them niggas go to hell on their own time. That's all I can tell you. I can't tell you no more than that. What I needed, man. Where I was at. I think I finished with what I was in Galatians. I was somewhere else. No. Come on over here to, what it was. Dang, I had it in my head. I done forgot. Well, let's go on over here to Nehemiah chapter 5. Oh, no. Now I remember. 2 Timothy chapter 3. Praise y'all. Now I remember. See, we're going to work it like this here. So I got to work a little different. 2 Timothy chapter 3. So you're going to pick this up at about verse 5. Matter of fact, we'll pick this up at about verse 4. And then after this 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 4, we go into 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 1. And after that, then we go into Nehemiah chapter 5. Because we're talking about taming the offspring that consumes. So to tame is to bring into subjection a seed of people who are consuming another group of people. See, I could take that and you could sit back and you could use this as Yahushua taming the offspring that consumes. But all they really doing is sinning. They could be killing people. They may not be killing people. I mean, I could take it to the beast. You could take it to Mystery Babylon. But I'm not trying to go in that direction. I'm trying to stay in one particular direction to relate it to one particular group of people who exploit. Because he told you if your people wax poor, don't charge them no interest. Don't charge them no interest. Traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of Elohim. And see that part right there? See, that's what get niggas in trouble. Because you love to please yourself more than you love to please Elohim. That's your problem. You can't get eternal life with that type of mindset. Yahushua didn't have that type of mindset. He didn't care what you had going on. He didn't care what he had going on. See, we care what we got going on. See, our problem is you're trying to make your life fit around the word. You're not making the word fit your life. And that's the problem. Because it seems like we treat the word as it's an inconvenience. And how can we move the word around to fit with what we got going on so we can continually please ourselves? And that's why he told you, if you're not willing to forsake all that you have, then you can't be his disciple. He can't teach you. Therefore, if he can't teach you, he can't guide you. And if he can't guide you, he can't discipline you. And if he can't discipline you, then you a bastard. See, that's the part you got to understand. When we see disciple, and if you notice like this here in that translation, it'll say taught one and taladim and all that there. And that junk's all fancy and good. But at the end of the day, if you don't abandon everything for his name's sake, then that man can't teach you. And if that man can't teach you, the book say, despise not the chastening of Yahuwah, for Yahuwah chasten you as a father and his son whom he delight. So if you're chastening someone, you're chastening them to teach them. So if he cannot teach you, that means he can't discipline you. And the book says if he can't discipline you, then you are a bastard and not a son. And we know a bastard cannot enter into the congregation of Yahuwah forever. And that's what you have to sit back and look at it when you hear. See, that's making fellowship with his sufferings and being conformable to his death. That man forsook everything that he had. If you're not willing to have a fellowship with that suffering, you can never become a son or daughter of Elohim, and you will go to hell. It's as simple as that. Ain't no way to clean that up, make you feel good, make you feel nice. At the end of the day, that man tell you to forsake everything that you got. That's exactly what he means, because then he can be able to teach you of him, because he can be able to guide you and discipline you, because that is what Yahushua did. That's what his father taught him. So if you're not willing to do that, how will he be able to teach you? How will he be able to guide you? How will he be able to discipline you? He will not be able to, because you cannot relate to the sacrifice of which he made, because you were not willing to be a card with that suffering. You were not willing to be a card with that sacrifice. You were not being willing to be conformed to the likeness of his death and to endure everything that he endured. How do you expect to become perfect? How do you expect to reach a state of Tamaim with that type of mindset? It's impossible. It's impossible. All this stuff we got going on in our life means absolutely nothing before this word. That's the mind you got to have. If I got to abandon that and walk away from it for salvation's sake, that what's got to be done. And I'm talking about this the mind that Hamashiach had. That's his mind. Remember, it said likewise had this same mind that he had. He said he was made in the form of a servant. He humbled himself even unto death, even the death of the stake. That's what it said. He said he suffered in the flesh, and we should likewise arm ourselves with the same mind. This man walked away from Shamahim. This man walked away from his throne. So you can't come to that man with these old cockamamie excuses you got going on when he did all of this. How are we going to be able to say that? He did all that. So that means, see, we say seek the kingdom first and all this stuff be added on to us, but do we actually believe that? Verse 6. Oh, I'm sorry. Verse 5. Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away. So these people appear to be godly, but they're denying the power. What is the power? We discussed it on Wednesday. It said Yahushua was declared to be the son of Elohim with what? Does anybody know the rest of that sentence? He was declared to be the son of Elohim with what? It seems no one knows the rest of that sentence. He was declared to be the son of Elohim with what?
Not with vigor, right?
No, not at all.
With power.
With power. By what? And what power was that? According to the text. By the Ruach HaKadosh and the resurrection of the dead. See again how I just worked that in to get to the point where he was justified in the Ruach. Why was he justified in the Ruach? He was justified in the Ruach by his faith. Therefore, his faith is what resurrected him from the dead, because his faith brought forth the obedience, and he kept these. See, when you talk to most Israelites, the first thing they're going to say, we got to follow the example of Christ. See, he kept all the laws. That's the only part they want to talk. You don't see Yahushua wrestling with no laws nowhere in this text. Do you know what I'm saying? You see him dealing with the laws of how people are supposed to treat one another. You know what I'm saying? As far as it come down to long suffering, mercy, patience, and forgiveness. That's what you see him dealing with. You know what I'm saying? That's what you see him dealing with. All that not eating pork and not having this and not... That man wasn't dealing with none of that. What you've seen in the example of how he was supposed to walk was the manifestation of his complete and utter hope and trust and obedience to his Father's will of what he was supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? This man was sent to die, and he was obedient to that to the last breath. Even when his flesh said, let's go do something else. Even when his right-hand man said, no, this can't happen to you. Let me get a sword and cut a nigga ear off. Let me go to war with you. This can't go down like that. Even when Pilate was determined to let him go. No, I can't let you do that. Do you know what I'm saying? I can't let you do that. That's the part that we miss when we make that conversation. How many people gonna let somebody slap them in their face and not say a word back? Spit in your face and not see. This came to me the other day. Nigga posted a meme, right? You know what I'm saying? Come over here to Proverbs 18:6. Nigga posted a meme, right? See, I touched this on Wednesday. I'm gonna see who can catch it. See, a nigga posted a meme, right? And the picture of the meme brought this to mind. I ain't gonna tell you what the picture of the meme was. I'm gonna have to let you figure it out. Proverbs 18:6. It says, a fool's lip enter into contention, and his mouth call for strokes. How does this relate to Yahushua? Who can tell me? A fool's lips enter into strife, and his mouth is made for stroke. Stroke meaning a blow. How does this relate to Yahushua? Can anybody tell me? Because then this talking about being made to have fellowship with the suffering. So I want to see who could tell me how that works. Anybody can tell me how that works. Anybody? You can tell me how that works.
And he was made a fool, right? By coming in the flesh.
Yeah, you can say it.
They smacked him in the face, so
I'll give you that. Who smacked him in the face?
the guard, wasn't the guard.
So how was this fool's mouth made for contention then? How was it made for contention?
That's what he was sent to do.
But how was his mouth made for contention though? See, yeah, you got the fool part right. And you got the stroke part right. But how was his mouth made for contention? Anybody, see, that's the part right there. See, that's the part tripped you up then. See, that tripped you up. Now, let me ask y'all this here. How was the fool's mouth made for, because we know this here from Ecclesiastes chapter 2, for those who are not familiar. It's probably about verse 13, maybe starting that. It says, as it happened to the fool, so it happened to me. So that takes you to the part that you know that he was crucified with two thieves, and if you commit folly, then you are a fool. Correct? So he was crucified with two sinners, so that's how we know this. For those who are not aware, you know in Corinthians, I should say, it say that we are fools for Hamashiach's sake, and another place it say we are saved by the foolishness of preaching. So now I just mentioned that part we say we saved by the foolishness of preaching, right? So then let's take us into how was this fool's mouth made contention for strokes, for someone to punch them or to slap them. Let's look at Hosea chapter 6. Then Luke chapter 2. Hosea chapter 6, verse 5. Hosea 6 and 5 says, therefore I have hewed them by the mouth of by the prophets, and I have slain them by the words of my mouth, and thy judgments are as the light that go forth. So he say he cut them. Y'all know what Hebrews 4 and 12 say. So he say he cut them to pieces with the words of his mouth, and that his words and that his judgments are a light that go forth. Remember what he told you in John chapter 3. He told you they don't come to the light lest their deeds should be reproved. So they won't come. They won't come. Now it says a fool's mouth was made for contention. And therefore he caught strokes or blows to his face. Now let's go to Luke chapter 2. And after Luke chapter 2, John chapter 12. And after John chapter 12, John chapter 15. You think their tear ducts would be empty much as they cry. Luke 2 and chapter 30 and 25. Luke 2 and 25. Let's go. Well, let me give y'all a second, because I said Luke 2, but I ain't giving no verse. Luke 2 and 25. And behold, there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon. The same man was just and devout, waiting for the consolation of Yasharal, and the Ruach HaKadosh was upon him. It was revealed unto him by the Ruach HaKadosh that he should not see death before he had seen Yahuwah's Hamashiach. he came by the Ruach into the temple, and when the parents brought in the child Yahusha to do for him after the custom of the Torah, then he took him up in his arms and Baruch Elohim and said, Yahuwah, now let thy servant depart in shalom, according to thy word. For my eyes have seen thy salvation, which thou hast prepared before the face of all people, a light to lighten the Gentiles, the esteem of thy people Yasharal. And Joseph and his mother marveled at the things which were spoken of him. And Simeon baruched them and said unto Mary his mother, Behold, this child is set for the fall and rising again of many in Yasharal, and for a sign which shall be spoken against. Yea, a sword shall pierce through thy own soul, that the thoughts of many hearts may be revealed. Hello? Shalom. Think about that, right? He said that the thoughts of many hearts might be revealed. What the book tell you about this, right? About the thoughts of men, the hearts of men being revealed. See, when the word is manifest, the word shows the manifestation of what's in a man's heart. It doesn't matter if it's right there when somebody preaching. It's going to be shown what's in your heart every single time. Now, we looking at Proverbs 18:6, right? It says that a fool, let me reread it again, so you can catch what we working with. It says a fool's lips enter into contention and his mouth call for strokes. So his words cause him to enter into strife, and then it causes his mouth to catch blows. So the very words that he's speaking is going to cause him to be struck. Now do you see how the fool's lip bring forth contention? Because it's the word that's bringing forth contention. It's the word which causes this person to be struck. Because remember, we saved by the foolishness of preaching. So now let's look at John 12:44. And this is, again, now you see how this works, because this ain't just no random thing to put. You see how this works with having fellowship with his sufferers? Because Paul told you, I believe, therefore I have spoken, quoting what's written in the book of Psalms. So if you believe, then you're going to bear witness to the testimony of righteousness, which is Yahushua HaMashiach, and that will cause contention. This will cause people to want to strike you, to want to do you harm. You have to be willing to ride with that. See, and you see the manifestation of faith you got to have to know that's going to happen to you. See, because we read this Wednesday. We read how the apostles were stoned and beaten, and they got up and rejoiced because they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name. Do y'all remember how it say in Isaiah 53, how he say he suffered shame? See, niggas don't want to suffer the shame. Like if you want to be made perfect and you want to be conformable unto his death, then you got to suffer, because before he died, what happened to him? He suffered first. And he humbled himself under that suffering, knowing what was coming. This is why when you take that Passover, you ain't just drinking no wine and eat no unleavened bread. You supposed to be showing this man death till he come. So that means you saying, I'm willing to go through. This man asked a question of two of his apostles asked him a question. Well, he asked two of his apostles a question in Matthew chapter 20. They asked, could they sit at his right hand and at his left hand? Their mama asked him that, right? Then Yahushua came to them and said, can you drink of the cup that I drink from? And can you be immersed with the immersion that I be immersed with? Now, all you niggas went and got immersed, and everybody drunk out that cup, but are you able, though? Do you really believe and trust in Elohim that he would perform the same work for you that he performed for his own son? See, that's the part of the game when people say follow Hamashiach's example. Ain't nobody telling nobody. Then when we show it, niggas thinking you flexing. Niggas, we trying to show you what you need to do to be saved. That's humility. Humble yourself under the mighty hand of Elohim. He will exalt you in due time. This is what Yahushua did. He humbled himself down to die. And Yahuwah gave him a name above all names, that at the name of Yahushua, that every knee should bow and every tongue should confess. That's what happened. This man told you that he would cause people to bow down and kiss your feet so you'll know that he loved you. And all you had to do is abandon everything that you have and follow him. Because again, if you cannot forsake everything that you have, he cannot teach you. He will not be able to guide you, because then you're not serving, because you are not beholding the experience which will get you into the house, because that is the experience. That man humbled himself under death and forsook everything that he had for the benefit of others. And we can't even do it for the benefit of ourselves. Pay attention to that. Because this is what we're talking about. We're talking about salvation. We're talking about this extra stuff. And all this stuff, man, that man say everything in the earth, the flesh, he say the earth is as grass and will wither away and be burned, but the word of Yahuwah abide forever. So everything around you is temporary. If you got this man Ruach in you, you will live forever. Nothing can destroy you. Have we quickly forgotten what he told you that, right, Baruch are those who die in the master, from henceforth their works do follow them? This ain't no game. This man's dead serious. Just like he told his apostles. If it wasn't so, I wouldn't have told you. Now, how you supposed to take it? You got all these niggas talking bad about the book every single day. Niggas say, I seen through that Jesus crap. I seen through this. I don't deal with that. So what, nigga? Who cares what you seen? I seen people say, oh, the Avenger movie is supposed to be, he's supposed to be a Messiah. Brother called me the other day, man. He talking to me. He said, yeah, man. I say, nigga, I don't care nothing about them cloning no people, man. If they cloning people, they cloning them. At the end of the day, what good is it going to do if I run around and tell people getting cloned? Ain't nobody's soul getting saved off that information. Okay, they cloned it. Now, he asked a question, which I ain't never thought about it, because I don't think about clone people. He was like, well, if it's a clone and they get killed, will they get resurrected? And I'm like, nigga, I ain't never thought about it because I ain't never cared. It's a relevant question for him, not disparaging him because he thinks about it. You know what I'm saying? Upon further thought on his question, no, because y'all didn't put that breath of life in them. You know what I'm saying? They ain't even, that's not even a living soul. You know what I'm saying? That ain't even no living soul. They're really, all you did is just take something and splice it. I told them personally, I don't know if the people cloning people or not. Because just because they say they can don't mean they can. The people lie about a lot of things. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I was listening to Joe Rogan, and that's something else I got to discuss with somebody else. While I was looking at examining this like this here. But you know who Joe Rogan is?
That's the same name, sound familiar.
That's the dude that do Fear Factor, but he real big in the mixed martial arts. You know what I'm saying? He all right, though. He talking about the moon landing, right? And I told a brother like this here, right? Think about it. You got more advanced technology now than you had in 1969, and them crackers ain't went back yet. Now, I ain't saying that I believe that they went, but the point of the matter is if you go with the official narrative, you would think they would have been back numerous times because you have better technology now than you had then, and you've never returned. So that would make me believe you never went. Now, why did I mention that? Because these people, I don't believe 95% of the stuff that they say. So what? They said they cloned the sheep in 97. That don't mean they did. You know what I'm saying? They do. We know they liars. We know this. And these are the same people who seek to consume people day in and day out. Ooh, boy. But I'm going to leave that where it's at. We going to John 12 and 44. I just want y'all to understand what we dealing with. And we dealing with humbling yourself to become like this man. Because I've told y'all this once, and I will tell you repeatedly. If your faith is where it's supposed to be, keeping this man's laws is absolutely nothing. It's not even a thought of you of not keeping them. You know what I'm saying? That's not even going to happen. See, the wrestling with keeping the laws or transgressing them comes from two things. Lack of faith, or you ain't mortified your members, which still going to take you back to a lack of faith. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it ain't but representative of one thing, a lack of faith. That doesn't mean that faith is absent. That means your faith is small. That's what it means. You know what I'm saying? Because if your faith is strong, then you're going to resist. You know what I'm saying? And then after a while, you're going to stop entertaining. And then, like I said, then you're going to deal with the things that Mashiach dealt with, which is the temptation of getting somebody trying to get you to go against your Elohim. You know what I'm saying? And when I say go against him, to speak against him. Like I had people come and ask me, do you agree with him sending bears to eat small children? I say, if y'all deemed it well for him to eat small children, then very well let the children be eaten then. So I say, and I done told several people this because people done asked me to numerous times. I say, you want me to say that something that Yahuwah did is wrong. But Yahuwah is righteous and true, and his judgments are just and altogether. So therefore, if he saw that to be just for that to occur, then I will not dare speak against it. And if you are offended by that, then I don't know what to tell you. Because that's a temptation. Niggas coming to you wickedly trying to get you to say something out of pocket. So all the times they stepped to a Mashiach, they were trying to tempt him with words to get him to say something out of pocket. See, nobody tempt him with no money. Nobody tempt him with no booty. Nobody tempt him with this or that. They were trying to get him to speak against Yahuwah so they could have something to say. You know what I'm saying? They tried to tempt his long suffering. They tried to tempt his patience or his mercy or his love, his forgiveness. These are the things you got to look at the way they tested him at. That's a different level of temptation. We shouldn't, after a certain period of time we've been dealing with the word and our members been mortified, ain't no way in the world you should still be wrestling with the same stuff you wrestled with 3-4 years ago. How? That means you didn't mortify yourself. You put the nail on there, but you didn't want to push it all the way through. It hurts. I don't want to push it all the way through. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go get up there on the tree, but really you ran around the corner and hid and hoping they grabbed somebody else and put them up there and thought that was you. That's what that is. You taking the coward way out. You taking the weak way out. Go ahead, get up on there, let them people nail you. You'll die after a while. The man say after they kill you, ain't nothing else they can do to you. Once you die to sin, what can Satan do to you? 1 John chapter 5, since I mentioned that before we get to John 12:44. First John 5 and 17. All unrighteousness is sin, and there is a sin not unto death. We know that whosoever is born of Elohim sin not, but he that is begotten of Elohim keep himself, and the wicked one touch him not. And we know that we are Elohim, and that the whole world lie in wickedness. Do you notice he say that if you're begotten, which means you would be born, and we talk about this, is to be justified in the Ruach, taking us back to what we discussed on Wednesday, being conformable unto his death, that you might attain unto this resurrection, because you have fellowship with his suffering. The adversary can't touch you, because you were son of Elohim. And all you got to do is go sit back and look at it, right? With Job. See, it'll look like, oh, he touched Job. No, he let Job have some suffering. He said his life was in his hand. That man couldn't touch it. Nor could the adversary even move. Adversary thought he could move him to sin. But this man was a son of Elohim. Therefore, he couldn't move Job to that. He couldn't touch him in that aspect. All you have to do is die. That's all you got to do. Stop prolonging the process. You can die now or you can die later. And trust me, you don't want to die later. That's not what you want. That's not what you want. Die right now. Because if you die right now, you're going to be exalted. Because the dead and Mashiach shall rise first. And those that are awake at his coming will meet him in the air. And you'll be exalted. You'll be lifted up. I'm giving you the stuff in the bits while I'm talking to you before we hit the pre. Is that really what you want? Man, look here, right? We could get banded about many things. You could get frustrated with life. You get frustrated with this, that, and the third. But you know what bring it back? The word bring it back. If you think upon it. If you pray back. That's why I told you when the brother say he don't trust nobody that don't pray regularly. Because that's a discipline. And I heard a brother say this the other day too, and that's real talk. And it's a sign of spiritual maturity. Because spiritual immature people don't pray on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? And the brother said the same thing that I told y'all the other day. When you pray, you to pray for yourself and pray for the stuff that you want. Because I did not just tell you that the other day. You should be praying for your people. You should be praying for other people. You should be praying for the salvation of others. And this man put his word in people's heart. Not praying for the stuff you want. I want a new car. I want a new house. I want a new job. I want a husband. I want a wife. You're a selfish bastard. Do you know what I'm saying? It's been plenty of people be like, boy, pray for me. I'll be like, boy, I already pray. You don't have to. If you fellowshipping with somebody and they preaching the word, and if you got to ask them to pray for you and they tell you, yeah, not asking like, hey, I'm asking you to pray for me about this. You know what I'm saying? But you coming with the thought process that niggas coming not even thinking that a nigga would even pray for them without them asking. Do you know what I'm saying? A nigga shouldn't have to ask you to pray for them on general principle. And the thing that always tricked me out is people be shocked when a nigga tell nigga already pray for you. You didn't have to ask me to do that. Do you know what I'm saying? Now it's different. You say, hey boy, I'm going through it, boy. Pray for me, boy. That's different. That's different. Because you asking something specific. Boy, I'm dealing with something right now, boy. I need an extra one, man. Add some words in there for me. You know what I'm saying? That's a different scenario. But that just go to show the sad state of where we at, that nigga won't even assume that somebody will pray for you without you asking. That's sad. You know what I'm saying? That's how selfish we are as a people. You know what I'm saying? Because when you go to pray, you only thinking about yourself and what you want and what you can get. And that's not the mind of a Mashiach. That ain't even the mind that Solomon had. Solomon went in, he wasn't praying for himself. He wanted to be able to execute judgment for Yah's people. Because he said, boy, this is a major task I got on my hand. And you seen what Yah told him. You ain't asked for no money. You ain't asked for long life. You ain't even asked for your enemies. So since you didn't, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you. Because you ain't even asked me for it. Like I say, do niggas ask for wisdom? Do they ask for the Ruach? Do they ask for spiritual gifts? At least if you're going to ask for something of yourself, ask for something tangible spiritually. You got to be the dumbest nigga alive to go to y'all and ask for a companion. You know what I'm saying? To ask for some money. How you look? What you look like asking your daddy for some money? Your daddy already know you need some money. What you look like asking this man for somewhere to stay? He already know you need somewhere to stay. But see, the problem coming at is it ain't where you want to stay. It ain't the car that you want to drive. Niggas steady screaming they alone. If you with Yahushua, you ain't never alone. He said, I won't leave you comfortless. I will not leave you alone. I will come unto you. You worrying about a flesh and blood person. Ain't worrying about the man who flesh and bone. If you understand what I meant, you should have caught what I tried to tell you. Start worrying about flesh and blood and worry about flesh and bone. That's the flesh and blood take care of itself. They'll take care of itself. Because we be worried about the wrong things. I told you, man, the brother say, do he know, got killed, died on that table. That man say it's outright dog. Everybody know what it's like to be sleep, nigga, wake up, nigga, standing. You ain't even know niggas was walking around you. And that's how it is to be dead. You have no idea what's going on around you. And that's what it is to be in sin and have lack faith. You in darkness. You have no idea what's going on around you. We shouldn't be that way. We should be spiritually mature and upright people. Every one of y'all done died to a Mashiach, died with him. So you ain't got no excuse to continually be spiritually mature and to be wrestling with the things of this life. Not wrestling with it. That stuff should be put to the side. I'm going to let y'all deal with that. That's his thing. He'll deal with it. He'll take care of it. Don't get me wrong. I know everybody going to be frustrated, exasperated. You know what I'm talking about? Nervous, and for depending on the situation is. And that's when when that happened? Time for me to go ahead, shoot me one, and then like the situation what I just mentioned, maybe ask somebody else to shoot you one on up there with you. And that's it. And after that, you got to let that stuff take care of itself. The man already told you which one of y'all can add 1 cubit to your stature, taking one thought, so you can't do nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? See, we come up in a society where you can't, when the reality, you can do something about it, but at the same time, you can't do nothing about it. Because if y'all block it, it ain't going to prosper. So don't get it twisted like we saying, oh, well, just don't do nothing and just wait on y'all to do it. This is the point we're making is rely on him, because this is what Yahushua was teaching us the whole time. John 12:44. This is what he was teaching us the whole time. That's all I really want us to be at, to the point where you learn to rely on him and everything else take care of itself. Yahushua cried and said, he that believe on me, believe not on me, but on him that sent me. He that see me, see him that sent me. I come a light into the world, that whosoever believe on me should not abide in darkness. You notice how I sat back and he said that his judgments were as a light when he slayed these people with the word. See, we hit them with that word, and that word would manifest in their sins. It's the same part when I forget the particular thing. He was talking to the Pharisees, and when Yahushua hit him with that word, it said, pop, pop, pop. The Pharisees were covetous, and they got mad. And they began to deride him and incite him to try to get him to say something. See, every time he came through, remember that's that mishpat. So that's the power to destroy the words of sin. So he coming through, pop, pop, pop. He bringing light to this here. He bringing the judgment through and it's shedding light on the wickedness that's in a man's heart. Just making people mad. Now they got strife. They want to contend. They want to fight now. If any man hear my words and believe not, I judge him not, for I come not to judge the world, but to save the world. He that reject me and receive not my words have one that judge him. The word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the last day. For I have not spoken of myself, but Abba which sent me, he gave me a commandment, what I should say and what I should speak. And I know that his commandment is life everlasting. Whatsoever I speak, therefore, even as Abba said unto me, so I speak. Well, let's look at John 15 and let's see what happened when you go to speaking these words and how these people feel about it. 15 and 18. Remember what he told you in John 16? He told you in John 16, I tell you these things so you don't be offended. They're going to kill you and think they doing Elohim service. And they're going to put you out of synagogues and they're going to beat you. This is the offspring that's trying to consume. See, they got to be tamed. Because he said they ever learn and never come into the knowledge of the truth. See, we got to finish Timothy. He didn't finish Timothy. I'm trying to get you to a point to understand. See, these are people who charging the usury or that increase. Because remember he said the scribes and the Pharisees, they devour widows' houses. See, they trying to come up. There's a reason for it. Just follow me, though. 15 and 18. If the world hates you, know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love his own. But because you are not of the world, but I've chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. See, that's the thing you got to ask yourself. If the world love you, that means you belong to it. Because he said, if you were of the world will love its own. We cannot say we are of Elohim and the world love us. I'm not talking about your family or friends got love for you, people who you knew before the word. Let's not be stupid. You know what I'm saying? Let's not be stupid and let's use intelligence. If you can go out there in the midst of sinners, and I'm talking about regardless if they know you or not, and they can receive you, and they love you, and they hear you, you cannot be of Elohim according to this book because they would reject you. Do you know what I'm saying? There has to come a point when you go to dealing with this word, that people that you knew before the word, that it's an awkward dealing. It's awkward interaction. Just people don't know how to interact with you. The type of conversation you trying to have or they having, you don't really want nothing to do with, so you ain't really engaging or talking to these people. I had a dude we do business with, he ain't know. He was like, yeah, man, the people need you to come do this here, man. Can you come tomorrow morning? I said, boy, I keep the Sabbath, boy. I ain't had to go in no great detail and this, that, and this. I said, man, I observe the Sabbath. That's the only day I don't work. He said, shoot. Came back and said, what about today? Ain't come back with nothing extra, none of that deal. I said, no, I can't do that. You just keep it simple. You know, sometimes when people say stuff, niggas feel like they got to go in a great spiel and go into great detail. I ain't got to do all that. I observe the Sabbath. If he wants to know more, guess what he going to do? He going to ask. But once he sit back and you told him, this is what I do, I don't do nothing different than that, because they ain't want to talk no more. I done told y'all before, man, I don't have any communication at all with anybody that I grew up with, hustled with, or had any type of dealings with before the word. And it ain't got nothing to do with no beef or this, that, that, and the third. Because he said, I chose you out of the world so that you could be mine. So how can I be chosen out of the world and still have friendship with it? That's impossible. See, but a stupid nigga will take this meaning, oh, see, you saying that how the sinner's going to hear the word. This ain't got nothing to do with about preaching no word. Because if I didn't preach no word, it ain't my job to do it no way. Nigga, I done sat with the dope boys on the block and taught the word to them. Who cares about that? That's teaching the word. But we can't go do the stuff that we used to do. I can't go with you. You talking about you finna go to these hoes' house? I can't go with you. You talking about you finna go to these people's club? Now that nigga say, man, you want to go grab something to eat? Well, I don't care, nigga. Let's go. That's not a big deal. That's not the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Niggas be so rigid because niggas be wicked on the low. Niggas got enough wisdom and common sense to know how to move, man. Nigga, I can't hang with you like that no more. That's the same difference, nigga. If you was in the street and you came home from prison and all your friends selling dope, you not gonna hang with these niggas because you not selling dope no more. You ain't trying to do that no more. Because you know what's gonna happen if you hang around with these niggas. You gonna get some rocks, you gonna get some weed, and you're gonna be right back out here serving and you're going back to prison. The book don't say evil communications corrupt good manners for nothing. He says some of you have not the knowledge of Elohim. I speak this to your shame. Don't be. I hate when people come with that cat there. Jesus hung with sinners. No, he didn't. He told them, nigga, complete and total difference. He wasn't hanging with these people. He was teaching these people. They were following him to be taught. Ain't nobody said don't teach nobody who contrary to the word. Niggas say don't hang with. You can't turn around and tell me that and then say the book say blessed are those who don't take counsel with the ungodly nor go in the way of sinners. Now which one is it? Because it can't be both. I can't follow the pathway you going, that's all. I can't do the stuff that you doing, that's all. And if I have to separate myself from you, that's what I'm going to have to do because my God is separate. He said, I am Kadesh, you be Kadesh. That's a commandment. Why niggas ain't worried about keeping that commandment? Nigga want to talk to you all day about not eating no swine and keeping Sabbath. Well, why niggas won't sanctify themselves like the commandment tell you to do? And to sanctify yourself means you're going to have fellowship with his sufferings and be made conformable unto his death because this is how this man set himself apart. This is how he set himself apart. Set yourself apart in the same fashion. Die with him to live with him. That's all you got to do. Live for him and not for yourself because that's what he did. We just read it in John 12, didn't it? He said, I came here to do the will of my Father. He told me what I should say and what I should do. So that's what I did. Yeah, I ain't want to drink the cup. I drunk it though. Remember the parable? He said, which one of these men did the will of his father? The one that said what you said I'm going to do and didn't do it? Or the one that said I ain't going to do it but went and did it? The one that went and did it. That's what Yahushua said. Which one did the will of his father? Showing how one is a hypocrite and one say my flesh say no, but the spirit say yeah. So that's what I'm finna do. See, when nobody want to have that conversation. See, nobody don't want to talk about this type of stuff that Yahushua was teaching and doing. Because that would cause you to have to relinquish your own will. We need to relinquish our own will. That's what we need to do. Because we could take all this stuff and we could take the practicality and the totality of the law and this, that, there, and the third. But if you don't bring no faith, you going to hell. Because you won't have the element which will give you life, which is the Ruach HaKodesh. Because, see, that law won't cause you to go die. See, that law, because, see, if you got that law, you ain't going to have that faith and hope he going to raise you from the dead. See, he told his apostles numerous times, I got to be killed and raised the third. He was telling them this stuff before it happened. He said, I tell you these things before they come to pass. So when they come to pass, you know that I am he. That's what he told. This man telling you what's going to happen before it happens so you can believe. So if you know that this man told you what was going to happen before it happened, and he told you if you walk in the same pathway, what happened to him is going to happen to you. Why you don't believe it? Why you don't believe it? Because you wasn't at the sepulcher when the stone got rolled away and you ain't see the linen clothes line? Because you ain't see that with your own two eyes? Because you ain't stick your hands in the hole in his side and in his hand and in his feet like Thomas did? Man, don't be coming around here with no vain service to get yourself no reward. You should be here for the reward. I don't care what nobody can do for you. If they can't give you a crown of life, they ain't giving you nothing. If they can't get you in a direction to get you eternal life, they ain't doing nothing for you. If they not telling you you jeopardizing eternal life, they don't love you. Nevertheless, verse 18 again, 19 again. If you were of the world love its own, but because you are not of the world, but I've chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. Remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his master. And if they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. And if they've kept my saying, they will keep yours also. See, if they persecuted him, they're going to persecute you, right? Now let's look at Matthew 26. Let's see if this man's word caused some contention. And then after that, John 18. And then after that, 1 John chapter 4. And now I got to switch. Like I told y'all Wednesday, man, I ain't against no culture. I'm going to have to use yours. I ain't against no thing. I ain't against no culture. And I ain't against no unity or community. But if that junk ain't bringing no salvation, well, that junk ain't about nothing. Because that's all I'm trying to do. That's all I'm here for. I ain't here for nothing else. What else is we here for? If it ain't got nothing to do with salvation, that junk a waste of time, man. Matthew chapter 26 and 63. At the end of the day, you pick the word up for the saving of your soul. I would hope that's what you did it for. If that ain't what you started for, I hope that's what it grew to. I think y'all first thing clicked in my head, boy, you going to hell. Boy, I got to save myself. That was my first thought. Period. That was my first thought. 9 years ago this month. Literally. You know what I'm saying? Boy, I got to save my soul. That was my first thought. I ain't feel no pride to know I was an Israelite. I ain't feel no pride in knowing I was a Hebrew. That junk ain't do nothing for me. Ain't do nothing for me. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? I ain't be like, oh, I found my culture. Let me immerse myself in my... None of that. I got to save my life. That's the first thing that came to my head, man. Real talk, man. Y'all my witness. I done saved my life. I ain't care about nothing else. I done saved my life. And I was willing to lose whoever and whatever to do it. No hard feelings. You just gonna have to go. You know what I'm saying? Some people, the loss of some people can be sadder than others, but eventually you'll get over it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't just sitting there saying that. Some people didn't even matter. You ain't even care too tough. Some people like, dang, boy, I love that nigga, boy. But boy, that nigga got to go. You know what I'm saying? That nigga got to go, boy. Because I can't go to hell with you, man. Because I know I'm going to go to hell fooling with you. You know what I'm saying? I know I am. See, that's the thing that be messing us up at, right? See, we don't be honest with ourselves. Like, just take the word out of the equation. You know this person got a bad influence to where they can persuade you or cajole you to do things that you know you should. And it ain't got to be nothing major. And then be like, boy, I need to go to bed at 11. Come on, stay out with me, man. It ain't no big deal. Now you ain't went to sleep till 3 o'clock. You know you got to get up at 6. You know what I'm saying? You know, it ain't got to be something you done went and did something crazy. Boy, I ain't drinking tonight, boy. Boy, go on, boy, get some of this, boy. Boy, I got that yak. Boy, one sip ain't going to do nothing. Next thing you know, you in the corner, balled up drunk. Boy, I ain't gonna smoke no weed. Boy, I can't smoke no weed. Boy, they piss testing at a job. Boy, boy, go on hit the blunt, boy. Now you done got fired. You know what I'm saying? It's just that simple. And you got to be real enough to say, boy, I love that nigga. I don't love you enough to lose my job, boy. Boy, I ain't hanging with that nigga no more. That nigga called me, boy. Ain't no beef or nothing. Boy, what you doing tonight, Sleep? But what you got going on, word? What you watching the game? Boy, I got to go to work in the morning. After a while, niggas stop coming at you with that nonsense. You shouldn't be upset if somebody stop coming at you with something that's detrimental to you. Because if they're not bringing something that's detrimental to you, then they going to keep coming around and ain't going to be no issue. If all a nigga bringing is something detrimental to you and you start removing yourself from the things that are detrimental that they bringing and they stop communicating, then let that nigga leave. We ain't even got enough common sense or wisdom to even peep that. All the nigga was ever bringing me was something that was going to destroy me. When I stop fooling with the destruction, the nigga don't hit my line no more. Nigga don't stop by the house or nothing. Let that nigga go. We don't want to hear stuff like that. That don't make you feel good on the inside. But Yahushua remained silent, so the high priest said to him, I put you to oath by the living Elohim that you say to us, if you are Hamashiach, the son of Elohim. Yahushua said to him, you have said it. Besides, I say to you, from now you shall see the son of Adam sitting on the right hand of power, coming on the clouds of Shamahim. And then the high priest tore his garment, saying, he has blasphemed. Why do we need any more witnesses? See, now you have heard his blasphemy. What do you think? And they answering and said, he is liable to death. And they spat on his face and beat him, and others slapped him, saying, prophesy to us, Hamashiach, who is the one who struck you? Here you go. You see how his words brought that contention, and therefore got him hit upside his head. Let's look at it in the other spot, John 18, and we'll move on. And all of them sitting there looking at it. Do you know how humble you got to be to let somebody punch you in your face? to slap you in your face, and you know you got the power to take them out. I ain't talking about just, oh, I can beat you up. I got the power to take you out. You know what I'm saying? I got the power to take you out. I could say one word and my father killed all y'all. That man said 12 legions. If you remember, when the unclean spirit was in the dude, he said, what is your name? They said, Legion, for we are many. So when you're talking about 12 legions, many, many, many angels, all these people are dead. And he let him slap him. He let him spit in his face. He let him smack him upside the head with a reed. That's humility. When I say humility, humility to the word. Humility to the will of Elohim. And that's what the mind you want. If you want to have fellowship with his sufferings and be conformable to his death, to be able to take part in his resurrection, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. It's not no magic elixir, man. It come down to two things. Faith and will. When I say will, desire to do so. The desire to do it. Remember what I told y'all with Psalms chapter 40. Thy Torah was within my heart to do thy will, O my Elohim. The desire to do it. See, if the Shema is not there, that faith with hearing, with the intent to do, the desire to execute the will, then you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. No matter what nobody preached to you, no matter what nobody shows you, no matter what you bear witness to, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. And that's why you ought to have wisdom at every choice that you make. And that every choice that you make should be aligned with the will of Elohim. And if you're not sure if that choice is with the will of Elohim, then you should seek counsel from Elohim in prayer first. And then counsel from a wise man second. And then wait for what Elohim will show you what you ought to do. John 18 and 20. 19 actually. And the high priest then asked Yahushua of his disciples and of his doctrine. Yahushua answered him, I spake openly to the world, not ever taught in the synagogue and in the temple, whither the Yahudim always resort, and in secret have I said nothing. Why asked thou me? Ask them which heard me what I have said unto them. Behold, they know what I said. And when he had thus spoken, one of the officers which stood by stroked Yahushua with the palm of his hand, saying, Answer thou the high priest so? Yahushua answered him, If I've spoken evil, bear witness of the evil. But if well, why smite thou me? Because at this point, he done became a fool. He getting ready to die. And his words brought contention, and therefore that contention brought strikes. They smoked this man because of his words. Because his words caused a strife or a contention between the serpent seed and the woman's seed. 1 John chapter 4, and then 2 Timothy chapter 3. We got 2 Peter chapter 2 and Nehemiah 5 on deck. I didn't want you to consider. What you choose to do is what you choose to do. But weigh and consider the will of Elohim and do that. 1 John 4 and 4. You of Elohim, little children, have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Remember, right, that you might overcome when thou art judged, that you might be justified in your sayings, because you need to be justified by your faith. Because it said that Yahushua was manifest in the flesh for the purpose of death, justified in the Ruach by the resurrection of the dead, and received up into esteem. Received up into esteem. So if this man is in you, you shouldn't be wrestling with no sinners, much less being joined to them, because you should have overcame them, because that is which is in you. It says that he shall be called great. So if he is in you, then what is in you is greater than the person who don't got that in them. They are of the world, therefore speak they of the world, and the world hear them. We are of Elohim, and he that know Elohim hear us. He that is not of Elohim, hear not us. Hereby we know the Ruach of truth and the Ruach of error. And that's why I use the example of Kanye West. And I'm not going to go into no great detail with that because I really didn't care. I didn't even really have no conversation about it because I truly didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Niggas went haywire for at least a day and a half talking about this nigga. You know what I'm saying? But when you sit back and look at it, the world heard him. And that's why they were speaking of him. Did the nigga sound dumb? Yeah, the nigga sounded dumb. But again, that's coming niggas not a good communicator. So his thoughts were not properly communicated. You know what I'm talking about? But at the end of the day, niggas do choose to be a slave, like I said before, because you're choosing a slave to sin. See, I ain't talking about no bows. And I ain't talking about no America. I'm not having that conversation. Because I'm talking about this conversation that he that commits sin is deserving of sin. And niggas choosing to be slaves. So are we going to be slaves to our own desires and to the devil? Or are we going to be servants to Elohim and be set free? And that's a choice that we all can make. And we all can make the choice to be free. We all can make the choice to be free. I seen niggas say, do you think it? Somebody said, oh, see, he was using him to say about the curses. I say, man, y'all wasn't using this nigga to talk about no curses, you dumb bastard Jew. You know what I'm saying? Anything that, and you know why this is the case? It's the same token. Well, I told a brother earlier today, right? Niggas call exposing the Illuminati rap artists and talking about clones as you dropping the truth. And you ain't dropping no truth because this ain't bringing forth no firmness, no faithfulness to anybody into Yahuwah. For me, it's entertainment purposes. I find some of those videos amusing and I laugh at them. Because these niggas is hilarious. Some of the points that these niggas be trying to pull is hilarious. But like I told her brother though, but the things that people say that these people are doing, I could go for that only because what they're claiming that these people got to do is in direct violation of the word. So I could see Satan's minions asking someone to do things that Yahuwah finds abominable. Because all the things that they say that these people are asked to do are abominations according to the text. So I wouldn't find that far-fetched that they were participating in such behavior because it would make Yahuwah utterly detest them. And therefore his wrath would be upon them. And this is what the adversary is after. So that's not far-fetched for me. You know what I'm saying? That is tangible. But after a while, them niggas throwing up Baphomet's in the video. And it ain't but so many times you can show a nigga throwing Baphomet's. What I'm supposed to do with the information? I can't stop these niggas from doing it. If they cloning niggas and I tell everybody that Gucci Mane is a clone, what purpose has that served to anyone? That ain't the real Dave Chappelle. They killed him. And you still watching his Netflix special. So clearly it don't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? But as I told her, brother, it gives a nigga the excuse to talk about the celebrities that niggas idolize who they don't want to let go. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this nigga Jay-Z wicked. So what? The nigga around the corner wicked. Then some of them niggas you fellowship wicked. It ain't like Jay-Z gonna get a hotter bit of hell than the nigga around the corner gonna get. He gonna get the same amount of hell the child molester gonna get. He gonna get the same amount of hell your grandma gonna get. I done had a nigga ready to fight me. My grandma ain't going to hell. Well, you said your grandma ain't following that book. Where you think she going? You think he going? I remember I done had several people ready to fight. I know God heard my prayer. All I did was just read the text. I said, yeah, man. I remember reading this book where he say he ain't hear the prayers of sinners. I say, well, shoot, boy. First thing clicked in my mind when I heard that was when I ain't do what my mama said to do, and I asked her for something, she told me no. That's Yah's my witness. That's the first thing I thought about when I read that. That makes sense. This is the type of stuff when he talk about humble yourself as a child. As a child, you know, if you didn't do what your parent told you to do and you asked them for something, they wasn't doing nothing for you. Now you turn around and think, Abba and Shamaheen gonna look out for you and you ain't did nothing he told you to do. Yes, son, I go ahead and grant that request for you. You ain't did nothing I told you. But let me go ahead and get you this shiny new car. Oh, I know God hear my prayers. I said, ain't no need to get hostile with me, sir. This just what the word say. So you got to understand, son, this would mean you would be a fool and your mouth is bringing contention. And you got to be ready to be struck like Yahushua was struck because you saying I want to be fellowship with his sufferings. Then if I'm fellowship with his sufferings, then I can be conformed to his death because I'm willing to go through and endure what he endured. You see how that works? That's very simple. It's very simple. But we don't want to endure what he endured. We just want to talk about it and shed tears about it, but don't nobody actually want to experience it. Actually experience it. When you experience it, then you know the power and esteem of Elohim rest upon you. Why would you run from that? Why would you avoid it? You want to be made perfect, but then the very thing that's going to make you perfect, you avoid it. Don't avoid your salvation. That man says it's a blessed thing if you persecuted for the word. Don't run from your blessing. Your name written in heaven at this point. Second Timothy chapter 3. You know, you can't run from the pain. You got to run towards it. You got to come towards it. Don't run from the suffering. Walk to the suffering. The suffering is what's going to make you whole. That's what's going to make you perfect. All you have to do is endure. He that endured to the end, the same will be saved. Endure. Where's your patience and trust in your God? Where we at? 3 and 6, 3 and 5, 3 and 5. Yeah, 3 and 5 is cool. Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away. For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with diverse lusts, ever learning, never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. You see how these people coming in to consume, taking that silly woman. She got these diverse desires. They coming through getting them. You could take that as a natural woman, or you could take that as those who are members of his body. He coming through, these people coming through getting you. See, when you got a heart laden with transgression, and you got all these different things you want to do, it's easy for you to get captured and led away. Taken into bondage, made a slave. They just exacting interest on you. So that offspring of the devil coming to consume you. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 1. I thank y'all for the word. I told you, man. I got out of prison 9 years ago last month, April the 1st. Who knows where I could be at if he didn't reveal himself to me as forth as saying you need to repent and save your soul 9 years ago. I wouldn't know none of you niggas. You know what I'm saying? Straight up and down. You just sit back and look at that. And I've said this so many times over the years. There's a reason why y'all separated you to be his. Stop worrying about the people he separated you from and leave them niggas where they at and let them go in the direction that y'all want them to go. If it be y'all's will for them to be saved, hallelujah for Yahushua. I pray it be his will and it come to pass. But if it's not, ain't nothing I can do about that. When I say that, leave people where they at, that don't mean you don't want them to be saved or delivered. But that's not my job. Do you know what I'm saying? I can't force you to follow Yahuwah. I can't force none of y'all to do it. I can't force nobody to do it but myself. That's the only person I can make. You can't make your kids do it. You can't make your spouse do it. That person got to want to do that for them. For them. You know what I'm saying? And that's one, see, and like I say, man, we don't deal with the apocrypha like that. But it tell you to prove a friend first, right? And you know that the book tell you that Yahuwah proved Yahusha. And Yahusha gonna prove you. See, you know what nigga get amped up at? Nigga keep a little bit of word for a little while. Fellowship with you. Boy, that brother, that's solid. Nigga ain't even proved this nigga yet. See, the proof come in the pudding when you get tested. That show where your heart really at. If this really what you want to do. That's where it show at. Cause boy, I got to know you stand. Man, look here, man. You ain't finna go to war with a nigga you ain't confident they gonna stand. Why does somebody want to go to war with somebody who ain't gonna stand? But when it comes to certain stuff, boy, I'm gonna make sure this is what you want to do. You gotta make sure. I got to know. Do you know what I'm saying? See, I ain't got to have faith in you. You ain't but flesh and blood. Do you know what I'm saying? I ain't got to know what Yahuwah. I follow him wherever he go. He ain't got to tell me or show me nothing. Boy, nigga got to show me what type of time he on. You know what I'm saying? I told brother today, boy, it ain't hard to peep niggas. All you got to do is look in niggas' eyes and watch their action. It ain't hard to peep a nigga. Niggas is very transparent. Don't even know they transparent. Niggas is see-through. Game raggedy. Like, boy, that ain't what that nigga want to do. That is not what this nigga want to do. But you got to be dedicated to this every day of the week. If you're gonna ride for something, ride for it all the time. Not when it's convenient for you. All the time. Whether things is good, whether things is bad, whether it's sun out, whether it's raining, it don't make no difference. Whether it's easy, whether it's tough, ride. Nigga get in a tough situation and fold. But you gotta ride all the time. It is what you believe in, ride all the time. Not when it's convenient for you. Learn to have some wisdom. Learn how to pay attention. Learn how to when to talk and when not to talk. Learn when to listen. Learn when to observe. Know that wisdom will always defeat strength. Physical strength. Satan coming in with the strength of your desires. You're supposed to have wisdom. It should be easy. Come on, Yahushua was dead weak and hadn't eaten or drunken anything in 40 days and 40 nights and whooped the devil's behind. Because he beat him with wisdom. He knew how to fight, even when he was weak. Satan was strong, but that wise man ruled over that strong man because he used wisdom to beat him. Where's your wisdom at? Why you not using it? That's like having a house full of guns and niggas shooting at you and you throw rocks at him. You got an AK-47 right here. You got a 357 over here. You got a Glock 9 over here. You got a 40 cal over here. You got nice weaponry in here. AR-15s. Might got a rocket launcher in the back because you know some Arabs. And you picked up a slingshot. This will beat him? No, you're an idiot. That's not going to beat him. Now you're going to die. And you know what you're going to do? You're going to blame him for killing you. When you had everything necessary to defend yourself and you chose not to because you just want to show how strong or how smart you was. And in reality, you stupid. That's how we operate as a people. That's how we think. And we need to stop thinking like that. 2 Timothy. I finished 2 Timothy. We need 2 Peter. Let me get it on to my point. What time? Oh, I got plenty of time. Ain't number 10:19. I got plenty of time. I thought I was running long. Probably because I'm at an hour and what? 22. Oh, I got plenty of time. I got to get these victuals in him. I ain't going to get all these words. I just have words on deck. Don't mean I'm going to use them, though. 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 1. But there was false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the master that brought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. And through covetousness they shall with feigned words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time linger not, and their damnation slumber not. You see, that's how he going to consume this offspring that's consumed. That's how he going to tame them. He got to kill him. But let's take this back to see the violation of Leviticus 25, where we started at Nehemiah 5. And let's look at what's going on. You know, the word is a beautiful thing. And Elohim is merciful and gracious and just, and forgiveth sin and iniquity to all those who return. But if you're going to return, you're going to have to be willing to die. And I don't know at times if we be willing to do that. The same thing, Yahushua basically, in the same words, asked the same question. When it comes down to saving your soul, what are you willing to lose? What are you willing to lose? How many of you sat down and counted the cost, whether you had enough to pay? Now, I'm only going to speak for myself. I came home from prison with absolutely nothing. I came home from prison with nothing but an outfit that I paid for. You know what I'm saying? Because it was bought with my money. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't had nothing else but a pair of Sperry boat shoes, a pair of cargo shorts, and a yellow Nautica shirt, and a Yankees fitted hat that I paid for. That's all I had. I ain't see none of my friends or none of that. You know what I'm saying? And a little bit of money left in the bank and the $100 that they gave. You know what I'm saying? And when that word came, when I sat down and looked at it and said, what do I have to lose? I said, I just did 4.5 years in prison. I just lost 4.5 years of my life. And for what? Everything that I did, I tried to do it in my way. And plus, at the same token, this is how I'm thinking, even like, it was not like I was walking in the word or knew anything about the word. You know what I'm saying? But I did things in the way that I felt like it was best. Clearly, that didn't work. So I'm going to do this. Because if this don't work, if this ain't what it is, then truly, life is of nothing. You know what I'm saying? See, a lot of people come into stuff and they look at, they got something to lose and nothing to gain. So I looked at it as, what do I have to lose to serve Yahuwah? I have nothing to lose. And I got everything to gain. So I offer my life then. Period. This is my thought process. I have nothing to lose, and the only thing that I have to gain is eternal life. And in order to get it, I have to offer my life. So I offered my life, because that's the only thing that I have to give to this man. I don't have anything else to give him. You know what I'm saying? So then as I began to learn the word, and I see that this is the exact same thing that he told Yahushua to do. Because he had everything and he gave it up. And so I ain't got nothing to lose but everything to gain. And what was it that he had to gain? To redeem his people back. So that he could give them everything that he already had. You know what I'm saying? That's the cost that he counted and said, I'm willing to pay that. That's why he asked him, are you willing to drink from the cup that I drink from and be baptized with the baptism I'm baptized with? You gotta sit down. Did you count the cost? Did you sit back and look at what do you have to lose? Look at, I gotta lose my friends, I gotta lose my family, I want to do this and I want to do that. Nigga, screw all of that. How many of y'all sat at the right hand of Elohim? I'll wait. How many of y'all walked away from living forever to become a man to be beaten and killed? I'll wait. How many of y'all created the heavens, the earth, and everything in it and came down here with him to be disrespected by him? I'll wait. You ain't losing nothing. At the end of the day, because that's what he walked away from. So you ain't really losing nothing. Nothing. Because ain't none of us walked away from anything close to that. You walked away from going out, from being a nigga, from dressing like a whore, from getting high and drunk, from indulging in indecent behavior. That's what you lose? You really look at that as a loss? I mean, you look at that as something that you didn't lose anything but death. You should rejoice. Not be sad. You should rejoice. I lost death. Praise Yah. What do? Mope and moan. Ungrateful niggas. Ungrateful niggas. Nigga deliver you from death. Nigga around here moaning. Man, shoot. Going out, man. It's the Sabbath, man. I gotta go in here, this nigga talk. Man, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life, man. Like, really, compare what that you losing for what he lost. And see if it's an equal comparison. And if it ain't no equal comparison, shut your mouth and serve your God and rejoice that he gave you an opportunity to deliver yourself from death. And stop being an ungrateful little snotty-nosed bastard. Nehemiah 5 and 8. Make that Nehemiah 5 and 5 and yeah, we gotta start at verse 1 to get the proper context of what we're looking at. I didn't want you to consider and frame it in your brain. That's all. You can frame it in your brain, and you can see how asinine we sound when we could be complaining about the stuff that we had to forsake. Everything that we had to forsake brought death. That man didn't forsake anything that brought death. He forsook life to take up death. Look at that. Really sit there and think about it. Just pause and let that resonate in your mind for a moment. Just let them pause and let that resonate for your mind in a moment. Yahushua, everything that Yahushua forsook was eternal life. Everything he forsook was eternal. And he forsook everything that was eternal because it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that he could be a faithful and merciful high priest in the thing pertaining to Elohim, so that he could redeem you from death, that you would no longer have fear of death and be in bondage to him that had power over death, that is the devil. So he forsook eternal life for death. And you complaining about forsaking death to get life. Do you realize how backwards and stupid that sounds? Like, do we really see how stupid that sounds? We trying to cling to death. That's what he's telling us to forsake, is death. He forsook life to pick up death. That ain't no comparison. That ain't no comparison. Hallelujah. That ain't no comparison. Think about it. Weigh it in your heart. And that's how you end up having fellowship with his sufferings and being made conformable to his death. That's how you get to that point. This is what I'm talking about when we talking about having his mind and thinking like him. He ain't talking about not eating no pork, no shrimp, no mixed garments. Nigga, that's petty stuff. That's easy not to do. Don't buy woolen. Who would wear a woolen linen shirt anyway? Who would put a linen shirt on and wool pants? Who gonna do that? Even without the word, you know, those two things don't even sound like they go together. One's light, one's heavy. One's for the summer, one's for the winter. And there was a great cry of the people and of their wives against their brethren, the Yahudim. For there were there that said, we, our sons and our daughters are many. Therefore we take up corn for them that we may eat and live. Some also that were that said, that just does not seem to fit like in proper English. We have mortgaged our lands, vineyards, and houses that we might buy corn because of the dearth. There were also that said, we have borrowed money for the king's tribute, and that upon our lands and vineyards. Yet now our flesh is as the flesh of our brethren, our children as their children, and lo, we bring into bondage our sons and our daughters to be servants, and some of our daughters are brought into bondage already, neither is it power to redeem them, for other men have our lands and vineyards. They say we can't even buy them back. Other people got our lands and vineyards, and we can't even buy our daughters back. And I was very angry when I heard their cry and these words. Pause. James, chapter 5. He said he was angry at their words because his offspring is consuming the people. See, the thing that always get people in trouble is greed. Let me tell y'all something, right? Ain't nothing wrong with being ambitious. Ain't nothing wrong with having goals and things you would like to accomplish. James 5:1. Ain't nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with it is when that thing become your singular focus and you put that greed and that desire above right ruling and above mercy. That's when it's a problem. See, remember, because he says it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. Not the money, the love of it. Because the love of it will cause you to do some foul things. It will. It will. Cause men to do evil. Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you. And you shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have reaped treasure together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers which have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, cry. And the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the master of Sabaoth. See what this here? I say you were angry? Because see, once them cries enter into Yahuwah's ears, he becomes angry. Same thing we see with Nehemiah here too. He was wroth, right? Come on back to Nehemiah 5. I didn't want you to see that there. When you defraud, hold on, pause. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. See, don't be around here defrauding people and doing people wrong. You know, our law tell you not to do that. Till you do that and the cries of that person come in the ears of Yahuwah, it's going to be trouble for you. 1 Thessalonians 4 and 6. He says that no man go beyond and defraud his brother in any matter, because that Yahuwah is the avenger of all such, as we also have forewarned you and testified. For Elohim have not called you unto uncleanness, but unto Kadash. He therefore that despise not man, but Elohim, who also hath given unto us his Ruach HaKadosh. But as touching brotherly love, ye need not that I write unto you, for ye yourselves are taught of Elohim to love one another. You know what he said? Don't go defrauding. Because that's what they were doing over here in Nehemiah. They were defrauding these people. And they knew what they were doing. They knew they ain't had no business charging no increase on these people. Come on back to Nehemiah. After we read this Nehemiah, we go to 1 Corinthians 9. And we ended out there. And when we finish with the 1 Corinthians 9, then I'm going to work this last part in. Because see, I'm going to work this in. Because I heard a brother say something about people who preach the word. And I may mention this again when everybody's in person. But he had an interesting perspective. And I can understand what he meant by what he said when he said it. We are in verse 7. Then I consulted with myself, and I rebuked the nobles and the rulers, and said unto them, you exact usury, every one of his brother. And I set a great assembly against them. And I said unto them, we after our ability have redeemed our brethren the Yahudim, which were sold unto the heathen. And will you even sell your brethren? See how he said they make merchandise of you. What we read in Peter, they sell it. This is why he came. This is why Mashiach flipped them tables over and say, don't make my father's house a house of merchandise. Because they were selling the people. They were seeking to consume the people. He said, or shall they be sold unto us? And then they held their shalom and found nothing to answer. Also I said, it is not good that ye do. Ought ye not to walk in the fear of Elohim, because of the reproach of the heathen our enemies? I likewise and my brethren and my servants might exact of them money and corn. I pray you, let us leave off this usury. Restore, I pray you, to them even this day their lands, their vineyards, their olive yards, and their houses, also the 100th part of the money and of the corn, the wine, and the oil, that ye exact of them. Then said they, we will restore them, and we will require nothing of them, so we will do as thou say. Then I called the priests and took an oath of them, that they should do according to the promise. I also shook my lap and said, so Elohim shake out every man from his house and from his labor, that perform not this promise. Even thus he should be shaken out and emptied. And all the congregation said, Amen, and praise Yahuwah. And the people did according to this promise. Moreover, the time that I was appointed to be their governor in the land of Yehuda, from the 20th year even to the 2 and 30th year of Xerxes the king, that is 12 years, I and my brethren have not eaten the bread of the governor. But the former governors that had been before me were chargeable unto the people, and had taken of them bread and wine, besides 40 shekels of silver. Yea, even the servants bear rule over the people, but so did not I, because of the fear of Elohim. So he said he didn't make himself, he didn't take nothing from them. He said they took bread and wine and 40 shekels of silver. And what is Nehemiah letting you know? He had the power to take it too, didn't he? He said, I ain't going to take it though. 1 Corinthians chapter 9. And after that, we come back to Leviticus 25. We on the downward slope. So when we look at taking usury, we see that an offspring of people who have the ability to power make merchandise of the people and consume their substance for their own personal gain. Before we look at this 1 Corinthians 9, let's take a look at 1 Peter chapter 5. First Peter 5 and 1. I remember having a conversation with a woman about it one time. She said, son, I say, baby, I ain't got nothing from preaching the word. What have I gotten from it? I ain't gained nothing. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. Because you ain't supposed... This man said something, right? He say you on a pro. He say when you get finished doing everything that you've been commanded to do, say I'm an unprofitable servant. I just did what it was my duty to do. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm gonna take that a step further. Cause as a man in the household, husband, a leader of the house, you supposed to do all that, and you supposed to look at your wife and child and say, I'm an unprofitable servant. I just did what it was my duty to do. This is the charge that I was given. I just kept my charge. And I mention that because, people love to scream, I take care of my kids, and I do. Nigga, you supposed to. We live in a generation of people who feel like they should get credit for doing what they supposed to do. You don't get no credit for that. I've told y'all this before. This is the most emotionally and mentally weak generation of people that I've ever seen. And I ain't even been alive that long. You know what I'm saying? To see that many different generations. You know what I'm saying? Mentally weak. Can't take nothing. I will say niggas, if you told niggas the truth back in the day, niggas did used to scream and niggas were hating all the time. That ain't no new thing. You know what I'm saying? If you don't go along with people like this here, oh, he hating on me. Everybody ain't hating on you, cuz. Everybody ain't hating on you. Some people telling you the truth. You know what I mean? Some people telling you the truth. We have unbelievable standards that you want for your significant other in this society. You know what I'm saying? And those standards are not rooted in anything just. That's why I say unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? We have a group, a continual generation of baby. That junk tripped me out to see somebody that I'm 30. I'm finna be 38. Y'all willing next month, right? Somebody I grew up with is a grandma. That's wild to me. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, I ain't even got no kids yet. This nigga a grandma. You know what I'm saying? You ain't supposed to be no grandma at 38 years old, man. But what crazy was, she was the same age pretty much when she had her son, when he had his daughter. And that's how that happens. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying indicative what they situation. That just tripped me out that my peer is a grandmother. You know what I'm saying? And we not in our 50s. We ain't even in our mid. If you become a grandmother in your mid 40s, okay. I can deal with maybe even early 40s. Because you could have had your child at 22, 23. They 18, 19. They done mess around, had a baby. You in your 40s. Okay, Man, we still in our 30s, man. I don't care if it's late 30s or not. We still in our 30s. That junk is crazy to me to think about it, to see. I remember when she was carrying him, and now she holding his child. That's why it's wild to me, because it's somebody I know. I remember when you were carrying him. And now, you know what I'm saying? I just seen him shoot about a month ago. You know what I'm saying? But when the generation get younger and younger with having the kids, the standard and the things of the nature that went on beforehand get lax. You know what I'm saying? And that's what caused all this type of stuff. And then you live in a society that say, go after this, go after this, go after this, go after this, go after this. And then the qualities that people should be going after, they're going to overlook that. You know what I'm saying? See, and I'm not going to go into no specific because we got to keep it moving. But like some of the stuff that we know would really define what a wife should do. A nigga overlook her and pick this woman over here who look good. Like I seen a video and they say how men and women pick their soulmate. And the woman picked the nigga based on the money he had, and the man picked the woman based on her body. And unfortunately, that's what people do. Is that like that all the time? No. But a lot of people do that. Because we focused on the outer, and we not focused on what's on the inner, because the inner is going to last a whole lot longer than the outer, because looks fade. You know what I'm saying? That stuff, they'll fade. But what they got in their heart and in their spirit and the type of character that they have will endure. And that's what you ought to choose somebody off of. You know what I'm saying? But we don't live in that type of society. You know what I'm saying? We live in a society and there's nothing wrong with no romance and this, that, then, and the third. You put a premium on that. You know what I'm saying? But life ain't a lifelong relationship ain't built off of that. So that has people chasing the next, because we chasing what we seen on television. Now we not chasing what we seen on television no more. You chasing what you see on social media mixed with television. And it has a whole nation of people going after a false reality that don't exist. Trying to create a fictional life that don't exist. And it's causing broken children and broken homes. And we don't realize that because we have not made Yahuwah the center of all everything that we supposed to be doing. The book says, unless the builders build by Yahuwah, they build for nothing. So we going about things in the wrong fashion. Now, all of y'all have the opportunity that who are now married with children to reverse that course. You have an opportunity to do that and change that and craft a generation of children that from your bloodline that will not follow and make these same mistakes. Massive responsibility. You know what I'm saying? As a man, you supposed to sit back and look at that. You gonna make sure that you direct your household, that generation of children that you produce don't make that mistake. As a woman, you would make sure that you choose a man that would be able to do that because you're looking at your children. This is a partnership. Because we're going to be long gone, and children still going to be here. And they going to produce children. And what we put in their minds, hearts, and souls is what they going to put in the mind, hearts, and souls of their children. And their children. And their children. This is why he told you to teach your children the Torah. So they could teach their children. And their children. That's the importance of what I'm talking. Because what I'm talking about still taking us back to this word. You know what I'm saying? That's why when you look at that, when in our society, when they had arranged marriages, that's why they sit back and look at it. I know what stock he come from. I want my daughter married to a man from a family like this here because I know what type of family that is. Because we no longer think like that. Because we've taken on the world or carnal frame of mind of thinking when this law was supposed to be our wisdom and understanding the sight of the nations. And that's how we were supposed to judge and make decisions and move. And we no longer do that. You know what I'm saying? And it's understandable. Don't get me wrong now. We've been over here a long time. Been taught a lot of lies. You know what I'm saying? Had everything stripped. So of course we're going to be broken and idiotic and dumb. You know what I'm saying? The thing coming at is that once we're awakened to who Yahushua HaMashiach is, that we don't stay like that. You feel me? That's what it's about. That's the point. Y'all young. You know what I'm saying? Ain't now one of y'all, for the most part, over the age of 30. You know what I'm saying? We don't got no children around here over the age of 6. You know what I'm saying? Most High willing, Leah be the first one to cross that threshold. And that's still 6 months away. You know what I'm saying? So you have an opportunity to make sure that this generation that y'all raising don't fall in that trap. And it starts with your behavior, your conduct, and your thought process. That's what it starts with. Where was I going? Yeah, I don't remember what it was, though. Oh, chapter 5, verse 1. And the elders which are among you I exhort, who am also an elder and a witness of the sufferings of Amashiach, and also a partaker of the esteem that should be revealed. Feed the flock of Elohim which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint but willingly, but not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. See, and then you read it because Nehemiah said, remember Nehemiah took the oversight of the house of Elohim, and he didn't do it for the money. He didn't do it for it. He said, I respect my Elohim. Because we could go read about Samuel. Samuel said, what I took from any of y'all, and I give it back. So I ain't took none from y'all. He said, if I took any oxen, any sheep, 1 Samuel 12, I'll show you what I'm talking about. We're going to get to the 1 Corinthians 9 in a minute. Because the last part, I got to do it very quick. But it's probably the most paramount thing of the whole conversation. Show you how we bookended. No, but praise Yah for the word. See, understanding is the most important thing because when you get the insight, then he dwells with you. When you get the insight. You ain't got no understanding, then he can't dwell with you. That's why he say you worthy of death. 1 Samuel 12:1. Samuel said unto all Yasharal, behold, I've hearkened unto your voice and all that you said unto me, and I've made a king over you. And now behold, the king walked before you, and I'm old and gray-headed, and behold, my sons are with you, and I've walked before you from my childhood unto this day. Behold, here I am, witness against me before Yahuwah and before his anointed. Whose ox have I taken? Or whose ass have I taken? Or whom have I defrauded? Whom have I oppressed? Whose hand have I received any bribe to blind my eyes therewith? And I will restore it to you. And they said, Thou hast not defrauded us, nor oppressed us, neither hast thou taken aught out of any man's hand. And he said unto them, Yahuwah is a witness against you, and his anointed is a witness this day, that you have found no aught in my hand. And they answered, He is witness. He said, I ain't took nothing from you. I ain't took nothing from you. I could have, but I didn't. 1 Corinthians chapter 9. Now, what the brother was talking about was support. He wasn't, because he was asked, because somebody asked him, okay, do he believe in taking tithes? And I know some of y'all know the arguments that a lot of brews have with tithes and this, that, there, and the third. And he was not against it. His point is how black people don't support other black people in their endeavors. And that basically we come and make, because he was basically like, people treat elders or teachers of the word like ATM machines. They make withdrawals, but they don't make no deposits. So you say you want these men to teach you this and teach you that and risk their life to do it and take the time out of their life to do this, that, there, and the third, but then nobody imparts anything back. Now he was looking at is, okay, brothers got camps or whatever the case may be, and they want to do things in the community where it take money to do these things. Then he say niggas don't want to support it. Then he say when niggas get 501c3, then they say look at these, which is basically a non-profit designation. But what comes along with, and niggas so dumb when they see it. Now I would never take a 501c3 when it comes to the word. Niggas so dumb when they see that because anybody can have you could have a 501c3 for anything. But there's restrictions on what you can say. So if you just got a regular nonprofit like many people do, you can't participate in political speech. But 99.9% of the time, you're not starting that nonprofit to participate in political speech. You know what I'm saying? But if you're dealing with the word, you have to have the autonomy and the freedom to say whatever you want to say. Do you know what I'm saying? And you can't take no 501c3 in that instant. But brothers take it because the people are not supporting, and they like, well, we'll need to do this. And this is this example he given, because I can't speak for this firsthand because I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? So this make sure I clarify what I'm saying. I'm going by I'm paraphrasing the gentleman's conversation. Do you know what I'm saying? I can't say it firsthand because I've never seen what he's talking about in a large enough to say, let's do this or do that. But I do know from living, niggas will not put no money up to support other black people in a lot of things. But his point was, we'll put that money up to support people who don't do nothing for black people, namely entertainers or athletes, or we'll put money up to support the white man. Like I seen the brother say, because he was talking about what Kanye was talking about, but he hit it in a different aspect. Something I done said to y'all before to a certain extent. He was like, niggas say they ain't no slave. He said, I beg to differ. No, what he was talking about was niggas selling their soul. Niggas saying, oh, I wouldn't sell my soul for $25 million. He said, but nigga, you selling your soul for $15 an hour because you go to work on the Shabbat. I say, boy, he ain't told no lie. Because niggas sure doing it. That cracker telling you can't get these $12, $13, $14 an hour. Niggas selling their soul. So don't tell me you wouldn't sell your soul and your bunghole for $25, $30 million like these niggas doing. Because you doing it for a couple hundred. Some niggas ain't even making $100 a day. They selling their soul to go to work on the Sabbath. And that's why I tell y'all, what I mentioned beforehand, that's why that Illuminati stuff, the devil worshiping stuff don't really mean nothing. Because if you commit sin, you selling your soul every day. And your damnation ain't going to be no greater than his. So stop selling your soul. Your soul already been bought. You ain't got to sell it. Somebody already got a receipt for it. All you got to do is just do what I mentioned beforehand. All I got to give you is my life, so that's what I'm going to give you. I ain't got no money to give you. You don't want my blood. All you want me is to believe in you and follow you. That's all I got to give, so I'm going to give it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the part that be tripping me out. Is that in this way that I done seen, that if a man has the mind frame that I just described, women will turn their head from him. If a woman has the mind frame that I just described, niggas gonna turn their head from him. Them niggas took all your ways out there. Them niggas think them ways toys till they fall on their feet.
I ain't gonna feel that.
Shoot, me neither. I'm gonna laugh heartily. 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 1 actually. Am I not an apostle? Am I not free? Have I not seen Yahushua HaMashiach our master? Are you not my work in the master? If I be not an apostle unto others, yet doubtless I am to you. For the seal of my apostleship are ye in the master. My answer to them that do examine me is this: have we not power to eat and to drink? Now look at this, right? I didn't want you to understand. This is Paul being examined if he an apostle or not. Did you see him get mad? How dare you try me like that? He said, if you want to examine me, well, check the evidence out, my nigga, and you can see and prove right here. That's gangster right there. Yahushua did the same thing when they wanted to examine him. Did you see him get mad? He said, well, let me show you if I am who I say I am. See, you know somebody ain't a Yahuwah when somebody say, let me examine you to prove you are who you say you are, and they get mad and want to fuss and fight and stamp off. He ain't a Yahuwah. Somebody a Yahuwah going to be like, they say, oh, you want to examine? Well, let me put my evidence on the table and you judge it. He said, have we not power to eat and to drink? Have we not power to lead about a sister, a wife, as well as other apostles, and as the brethren of the master and Cephas? Or I only Barnabas? Have we not power to forbear working? He said, we got power not to work. He said, who go warfare at any time at his own charges, who plant a vineyard and eat not of the fruit thereof, who feed a flock and eat not of the milk of the flock? Say I these things as a man, or say not the Torah same also? For it is written in the Torah of Moses, thou shalt not muzzle the mouth of the ox that tread out the corn, doth Elohim take care for oxen? Or saith it he altogether for our sakes? For our sakes, no doubt that it is written, that he that plows should plow in hope, and he that thresh in hope should be partaker of his hope. See, this taking the same thing. You know what the Mashiach say? The labor is worthy of what? His hire. That's all he basically saying. If we sown unto you spiritual things, it is a great thing if we shall reap unto you your carnal things. If others be partakers of this power over you, are not we rather? Nevertheless, we have not used this power, but suffer all things, lest we should hinder the basar of Mashiach. He said we ain't even used it, just like you seen Nehemiah didn't use it. Now, at another place, I'll read it to you so you can see it. 1 Timothy 5, because it'll seem like a contradiction, but it's not. Because Paul was speaking of himself specifically in his office. I'm not going to use this power. But then you'll see him make a statement over here. 1 Timothy 5 and 17. And it'll seem like a contradiction. He said, let the elders that rule well be counted worthy of double honor, especially they who labor in the word and doctrine. For the scripture saith, thou shalt not muzzle the ox that tread out the corn, and the laborer is worthy of his reward. So now it seems like he would be contradiction, but he referring to a pastor. He said, if they're an elder or a pastor, go ahead and hit them off with that. But he was saying, as an apostle, I won't use this power lest I hinder or stop the gospel from coming out. Come over here to back to 1 Corinthians 9. Because he wasn't trying to consume the people. Verse 18. Listen what he tell you. What is my reward then? Truly, that when I preach the gospel, I may make the gospel of Mashiach without charge, that I abuse not my power in the gospel. He said, I'm not going to exact or charge interest or usury on what you're doing. So therefore, I don't need to be tamed because I'm not of the offspring that is consuming. That's what we seen Nehemiah choose to do, what Paul did, and rebuke the elders in Yasharal who were doing that very same thing. Let's go to Leviticus 25 again, and let's get ready to bring it to a close. Woo, them 41 minutes went by rather quickly before I even got anywhere near to what I wanted to hit. But I got to hit the last part because the victuals is the main point. Well, the usury was the strong point, but the victuals gonna finish the job. Leviticus 25 and what? And 36. Well, 37, thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury, nor lend him thy victuals for increase. Now, I won't deal with the word increase tonight, but I will deal with victuals. The word victual, that's food or meat. Also, the word for lend is nathan, that's to give or to bestow. And that's the noon, the tet, and the noon, and that's just to protect the continuing life. So he wants to give you something that's going to protect continuing life. When you got the okal for the victuals, and you have the olive and the kaf and the lamar, it's the power for you to be filled with discipline. He said, don't you give him, don't you bestow the thing that contain continuing life and charge them no interest for. You see how that go into what Paul just stated? He said, don't you do that. But now he said this meat or this food has the power to fill you with discipline. Let's go to John chapter 6 and verse 52. See, discipline, I'll say this here for me. I'll speak for me. But make it 6 and 48 first. Or 47. I'll speak for me first. Just for me. Because I was raised to be disciplined. That is a very, very attractive quality in my eyesight, is a disciplined woman. You know what I'm saying? Undisciplined people don't do nothing for me. You know what I'm saying? I don't particularly care for that. You know what I'm saying? That is an attribute and a trait that is probably grossly overlooked by probably pretty majority of all human beings on the planet. You know what I'm saying? When you look at somebody who's a bodybuilder or an elite athlete, that takes an immense amount of discipline to do what it is that they do. You know what I'm saying? When you look at somebody who may be even an elite musician, and I'm not talking about a musician in regards of a singer or a rapper. I'm talking about a musician, a player of a musical instrument. It takes a lot of discipline to master that particular instrument. Whatever field, when you look at somebody who runs a successful business, it takes a lot of discipline to be able to execute that. When you look at somebody who has discipline, you're usually going to find someone who is intelligent. You're usually going to find someone who has a clear vision and direction on what they want to do with their life, so they know exactly what they want to do and how they're going to get there. You know what I'm saying? Usually this is going to be a very consistent individual. Usually they'll be a very thoughtful individual, and they're very aware and self-aware of the things going on around them by reason of their discipline. See, the discipline in itself is just not the singular trait. It's the things that are birthed from the discipline. That usually the things that I mentioned are usually found when you find a very disciplined person. Is that mutually exclusive every time? No. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, that's what you're going to find. You know what I'm saying? And we don't look at that. Because we look at somebody who disciplined and we think about other things. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that nigga need to let his hair down, have some fun, loosen up, this, that, and the third. But this nigga's locked in on what they trying to do. You know what I'm saying? And that's what, remember, that's what Yahuwah is trying to do. He's trying to discipline you and fill you with that discipline, because that discipline is what's going to guide you. It's what's going to direct you. Because now you have a sense, you know where you're going. You know what you're doing. And you stay in line. That's why I never understood, when I was coming up, women who dealt with undisciplined men. You know what I'm saying? Because if this man, he's not a man if he's undisciplined. Because if he's undisciplined, he can't direct nobody. He can't lead. A leader that's undisciplined is not. Is when you look at quarterbacks in the NFL that were undisciplined, their teams never won. They never won. They never took the team nowhere. You have people who feel like they got a lot of natural talent and ability, and they try to lean on their ability instead of disciplining themselves. And then when the talent fades and you no longer can live off your physical ability, their game sucks. Yeah, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And discipline is usually the signal of a winner's heart. Somebody who has the mind of a winner or the desire to succeed. So when we look at, we should have the burning desire to succeed in Elohim. That's why you want that power to be filled with that discipline, because it's going to keep you in a straight gate. It's going to keep you in a narrow path that lead to life, where you're not going to deviate to the left hand nor to the right. You know what I'm saying? That's why some, like I say, and I mentioned body, because bodybuilding, fitness is a discipline. Do you know what I'm saying? Your mama called it. So it takes an extreme amount of discipline to regulate what you're gonna eat when you lift. You know what I'm saying? That and all of that, it's a discipline, because you're working towards a particular goal and you're not gonna allow anything to deter you from that. So you discipline yourself to that. See, some people, they like, so I like people who work out, they look nice, that, there, and the third. And that's usually people who just go eyesight. People who are really into fitness, they tend to like people who are into fitness because they know the amount of discipline that it takes for this person to do that. And that's usually what they find attractive, outside of the fact that they might look nice, because they're looking at that quality of discipline. I say because discipline, consistency is not too far behind it. You can't be successful in anything in life if you're not disciplined and you're not consistent. You will not be successful. You're not going to have any success. Because if you're consistent, that means you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. Eventually, you're going to have to become good at it. Do you know what I'm saying? Hopefully, anyway. Do you know what I'm talking about? But you would have to have the discipline to keep doing the same thing. Like, keeping the word is just a discipline. So if you see somebody who can keep the word, this is a disciplined individual. So you don't think this person would be able to keep you disciplined if you were in their company? That's why I say, walk with wise men and you'll be wise. Walk with fools, you'll be destroyed. This stuff is simple. We make it harder than what it is. It's simple. John 6:47. Truly, truly, I say unto you that he that believe on me have everlasting life. I am that bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead. This is the bread which come down from Shamahim, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I am the living bread which come down from Shamahim. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. Remember, he said the word was made flesh. And remember that. The Yahudim therefore strove amongst themselves, saying, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? Then Yahushua said unto them, truly, truly, I say unto you, except you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you. Whoso eat my flesh and drink my blood have eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. He that eat my flesh and drink my blood dwell in me, and I in him. As the living Abba have sent me, I live by Abba, so that he that eat me, even he shall live by me. So when you see, you got to realize this man's body is your food, it's your meat, it's your victuals. He can't charge you no increase for it. He said, freely you've been given, freely you receive, freely you give. Say I had something for that, y'all willing, I'll touch it on tomorrow. Because I'm about at we passed 2 hours, not finna keep going and going and going and going just for ancillary points. You know what I'm saying? But think about this. This man's body, 1 Corinthians chapter 11, this man's body is your food, it's your meat, it's your victuals. See, remember when I mentioned that part about being justified in your sayings, that you may overcome when you are judged? Because the words that I speak unto you, they are ruach and they are life, and the flesh profiteth nothing. So if you eat this man's body, That means you eat in the word because the word has been made flesh. Therefore, you're gonna be able to overcome when you're judged because you overcame the wicked one and overcame the world or got the victory or the way that separates unto life. And therefore, you will not perish. See, if you sit back and you pay attention to it, right? You get the victuals, you eat the meat, you live by him. Now he disciplines you and he guides you. Now his yoke is upon you. You put a yoke on an ox and you put a yoke on a mule. You put a yoke on them for what? To guide them. His yoke is light because it's easy for him to guide you if you just relinquish your will. See, I was going to say this here, but somebody think I'll be cussing. Don't be a dumb mule or a dumb donkey. You know what I'm saying? Because I was going to be using it in the proper context with that word. Because that's what that mule is. He's dumb. He don't think for himself. So he kicks and he fights and he wants to do what he wants to do. Don't be that animal. Be a wise animal. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, right? Verse 23. For I have received of the master that which also I delivered unto you, that the master Yahushua the same night in which he was betrayed took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, Take, eat, this is my body which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. And after the same manner also he took the cup. And when he had supped, saying, This is the cup of the New Testament in my blood, this do ye as often as you drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do show the master's death till he come. When you do this, you're eating his flesh. That means you say you're dwelling in him, he's dwelling in you, and you're living by him. He guides you, and he disciplines you, and he directs you, and you no longer guide and direct yourself. Because he was God. He said, I didn't come down to do my own will, but the will of my Abba that sent me. He said he had to die. So to have fellowship with those sufferings and be made conformable to his death. Being made conformable to his death in the most simplest terms is to relinquish your own will and do the will of him in heaven. Because that's what he did. That's what he did. And we refuse to do that. If you sit back and look at it, right, and you say, I want a godly person in my life, whether it be spouse, friend, children, or whatever. If you want your children to be godly, then show them that you do the will of your Father in heaven and not your own will. You say you want a godly woman, then you're supposed to be seeing if she doing her own will or she doing the will of Yah. And vice versa, if it's a man and you want a man. You say you want godly friends, do they do their own will or do they do Yah's will? That's what you put. That's the number one kicker. If the word is in him, oh, that nigga like to do his own will. Ain't no God in him. I don't want to be friends with that nigga like that. No. And I ain't talking about people who don't deal with the word. We talking about people who say they in the, because we know a lot of people who are in the word and we know they wasn't doing y'all's will. We know they were doing their own. Some of us were right along around there with them. We supposed to be showing this man death till he come. Meaning we dead to sin to live to Elohim. That's how you justified in the Ruach. You justified in the Ruach because you died to sin. You put sin to death. That's how you justify. That's how you justify. But on that note, we'll say hallelujah for Yahushua because that will allow me to leave what I have on the morrow right where it's at. And I'll pick it up then. To everybody on the stream, y'all bless. I'm finna cut that off. To those on the phone, I ain't done with you yet.